What we see on snow is only the tip of the iceberg. Every push, every squat, every second of force built off the slopes fuels the power, control, and precision an athlete brings to the course. This is where strength meets speed, endurance meets explosiveness, and preparation becomes performance.
That's why today, we take you with us at the Physical Training Seminar 2025, held at Idrættens Hus in Brøndby, Denmark, organized by the Danish Ski Federation in the framework of EWAS, and the financial support of the European Union, where athletes and coaches from across Europe came together to explore and exchange what it really takes to build performance before it ever reaches the mountain. Participants came from countries including Italy, Denmark, Germany, Switzerland, Slovenia, Greece, Portugal, and more, creating a unique environment of international exchange, shared experience, and professional dialogue. The objective of the seminar was clear: to provide athletes and coaches with both practical and theoretical tools to support long-term development in alpine skiing, while fostering collaboration, reflection, and the exchange of ideas across nations and training cultures. Throughout the seminar, participants trained, discussed, tested, and learned together. In this video, we'll take you inside the theoretical foundations behind ski performance, the principles that define how athletes are built, prepared, and developed. In alpine skiing, performance is never the result of a single factor. Many elements contribute to performance, but the most important ones are physical, mental, and technical abilities working together as one integrated system. For example, when an athlete wants to improve technical level during the summer, the key is repetition. Many runs, many drills, and a very high training volume. But to sustain that workload and actually benefit from it, the body must be physically prepared. Without the right physical foundation, fatigue rises quickly, movement quality drops, and the risk of injury increases. That's why today, we focus on the physical side of performance, the base that allows athletes to train more, recover better, and ultimately express speed, control, and precision on snow. So what actually separates a good skier from a great one when it comes to physical preparation? What are the key physical qualities that truly make a difference on snow? Today, we're going to break down these components and analyze them one by one to understand how they shape performance. Among the most important physical aspects are strength, rate of force development, aerobic capacity, anaerobic capacity, and cognitive skills. Strength refers to the maximal force an athlete can produce. In skiing, strength enables skiers to maintain stability in turns, resist external forces, and control their movements through transitions, jumps, and varying terrain. Strong legs, core, and upper body are essential to absorb shocks and generate power throughout the run. Complementing strength is rate of force development, or RFD, which measures how quickly an athlete can generate force. Unlike pure strength, RFD emphasizes the speed at which force is applied, a critical factor in skiing. In slalom, for example, a single turn may last only 0.85 seconds. Athletes with higher RFD can apply force faster in these short windows, improving the general performance and efficiency on snow. Okay, now let's move on with the aerobic capacity, which represents the body's ability to take in, transport, and utilize oxygen over longer periods. While alpine skiing runs are relatively short, aerobic fitness supports recovery between runs, reduces fatigue during long training sessions, and enables consistent high-intensity performance across multiple runs or days of competition. Anaerobic capacity, on the other hand, allows athletes to produce energy without oxygen for short, high-intensity efforts. This system fuels explosive movements such as quick turns, sprints, or jumps. Efficient anaerobic energy delivery ensures that a skier can maintain power and precision even when oxygen demand exceeds supply. Finally, cognitive skills are fundamental. Skiers must constantly read the terrain, anticipate gates, and make split-second decisions. Reaction time, focus, and adaptability allow athletes to apply their physical capacities effectively. Cognitive skills link mental processes with physical output, ensuring that strength and RFD translate directly into performance on the slope. Now that we understand what these qualities are, the next step is knowing how to actually train them and when to focus on each during the year. Strength, for example, is mainly developed in the off-season, especially in spring and early summer, when there is more time for structured gym work. This is the phase where athletes focus on building maximal force through exercises like squats, deadlifts, split squats, and loaded movements that target legs and core. The goal here is to build the foundation. Without this base, it becomes difficult to safely increase intensity later in the season. As winter approaches, maximal strength work is reduced and maintained rather than pushed, because fatigue from heavy lifting could interfere with ski training quality. Rate of force development, on the other hand, is trained after a strength base has been established. This usually happens from midsummer into autumn. At this stage, training shifts toward explosive work such as plyometrics, Olympic lift variations, resisted sprints, and reactive drills. The intention is to teach the body to express force quickly, not just produce it. Let's move on to the aerobic capacity, which is typically developed early in the preparation period and maintained throughout the year. Activities like cycling, running, hiking, or long interval circuits build the cardiovascular base that supports recovery and training density. Strong aerobic system allows skiers to handle high volumes of training, recover faster between runs, and maintain consistency over multi-day camps or race series. Anaerobic capacity, on the other hand, is emphasized closer to the competitive season, when training becomes more intense and specific. Short, high-intensity intervals, sprint circuits, and lactate-tolerant sessions simulate the physiological demands of a race run. Cognitive skills should be trained all year, but especially as competition approaches. These can be improved through reaction drills, coordination tasks, visual tracking drills, or decision-making under fatigue. For example, combining agility drills with visual cues or adding technical decision tasks after intense intervals trains the brain to stay sharp when the body is tired, exactly what happens in a race situation. So, as we saw, across the season, the focus shifts progressively, first building the physical base, then converting it into speed and explosiveness, and finally, refining sport-specific intensity and reactivity. When structured correctly, each phase builds on the previous one, first developing strength, then enhancing rate of force development, building aerobic and anaerobic capacities, and continuously sharpening cognitive skills. This progressive approach ensures that every aspect of physical preparation, from raw power to mental sharpness, supports, rather than limits, performance on snow. In addition to the different physical capacities, alpine skiing relies heavily on the body's energy systems. These systems provide the fuel athletes need to perform at high intensity, recover quickly, and maintain consistency throughout a run. So let's start with the first energy system, the ATP system, or adenosine triphosphate system, which provides immediate energy for very short, explosive movements. Every start, jump, or rapid adjustment in a turn depends on ATP. It is the first source of energy the body taps into, delivering power in the first few seconds of maximal effort. Following ATP, the ATPPC system, also known as the phosphocreatine system, supports high-intensity efforts lasting up to 10 seconds. This system is essential during sequences of rapid turns, where successive gates require athletes to generate maximal force repeatedly in a very short time. By replenishing ATP quickly, the phosphocreatine system enables skiers to sustain explosive performance across multiple turns. For efforts lasting slightly longer, between approximately 10 and 60 seconds, the lactic acid system, or anaerobic glycolysis, becomes dominant. This system provides energy for sustained high-intensity movements, producing lactic acid as a byproduct. In skiing, the lactic acid system supports longer turns, continuous sections at high speed, and sequences where explosive movements are repeated without enough recovery time. Finally, the aerobic system uses oxygen to produce energy for lower intensity, longer duration efforts. While each individual ski run may be short, aerobic capacity is crucial for recovery between runs, maintaining endurance throughout training, and allowing athletes to repeat high-intensity efforts over the course of a training day or a multi-day competition. During a typical ski run, all these energy systems interact seamlessly. The start and initial explosive maneuvers rely on ATP and ATPC, while sustained high-intensity sections engage the lactic acid system, and the aerobic system ensures the body can recover and remain efficient throughout the course. Together, they form a coordinated network of energy delivery, enabling athletes to perform at their peak when it matters most. Understanding how these energy systems work in skiing allows coaches and athletes to design training that mirrors the physiological demands of the sport, ensuring that every run is powered by the right combination of the different elements. But how do we actually train these energy systems effectively? That's exactly what we're going to explore next, looking at practical methods to develop each system in a structured and sport-specific way. The ATP system, which provides immediate energy for the first 1 or 2 seconds of maximal effort, is trained through ultra-short explosive actions like reaction drills, start impulses, drop jumps, or single maximal pushes. These exercises teach the body to produce force instantly, preparing athletes for the split-second demands at the start of a turn or a jump. Next, the A, T, P, P, C system, which fuels efforts lasting up to 10 seconds, is developed through maximal explosive work with full recovery. Short sprints, bounding, plyometric exercises, and heavy lifts help athletes generate maximal power in short bursts, exactly what's needed for rapid sequences of turns or high-intensity maneuvers on snow. For slightly longer, high-intensity efforts, the anaerobic glycolytic system takes over. This system is trained with repeated circuits, hill runs, or sustained explosive drills. It prepares skiers to maintain power and precision even when fatigue starts to set in, simulating the continuous demands of a full course. Finally, the aerobic system supports longer duration, lower intensity efforts, and overall recovery. Activities like cycling, running, hiking, or tempo circuits build endurance, allowing athletes to recover faster between runs and maintain consistent performance across multi-day camps or race series. Building performance isn't just about what to train, but when and for whom. Physical preparation must match the athlete's development stage. What works for adults can be ineffective or risky for young skiers. Long-term development isn't one program, it's a progression year by year. In early stages, typically during childhood, the priority is not maximal strength or intense conditioning, but movement quality. Young athletes should focus on coordination, balance, spatial awareness, rhythm, and basic motor skills. At this age, the nervous system is highly adaptable, making it the ideal period to develop agility, reaction ability, and fundamental movement patterns. Training should remain playful, varied, and multi-directional, using games, obstacle courses, jumps, and coordination drills, rather than heavy structured workouts. The goal is to build a wide athletic base that will support future specialization. As athletes enter early adolescence, training can gradually become more structured. Strength training may be introduced, but primarily through bodyweight exercises, light resistance, and technical learning of movement patterns such as squatting, landing, bracing, and stabilizing. This phase is crucial for teaching correct mechanics. Learning how to move well precedes learning how to move powerfully. Aerobic capacity can also be developed progressively through endurance activities that remain varied and engaging, while anaerobic work should still be limited and carefully dosed. During later adolescence, once coordination and technique are established and biological maturity increases, training can safely shift toward higher intensity. External resistance can be added, strength levels can be increased, and structured conditioning can be implemented. This is typically when maximal strength development begins to play a central role, followed by progressive introduction of explosive training and higher anaerobic demands. At this stage, athletes can tolerate greater loads, but progression must still be gradual to allow tendons, ligaments, and joints to adapt safely. In adulthood and high-performance stages, training becomes highly individualized and performance-driven. Across all ages, one principle remains constant: skipping stages or increasing intensity too quickly is one of the most common mistakes in athlete preparation. Young skiers who specialize too early, train with excessive loads, or neglect movement quality often reach performance plateaus sooner and face a higher risk of injury later in their careers. Injury prevention, in fact, is not a separate component of training. It is built into the structure of effective preparation. A well-designed physical program reduces injury risk by improving joint stability, neuromuscular control, strength balance, and movement efficiency. Exercises that strengthen stabilizing muscles around the knees, hips, and core help the body tolerate the high forces experienced during turns. Landing mechanics, meaning the ability to absorb impact safely through proper joint alignment and muscle activation during landings, are essential for protecting the knees and spine. Eccentric strength, which is the capacity of muscles to produce force while lengthening, allows athletes to control deceleration, absorb forces, and stabilize joints under load. And lastly, the proprioceptive training with exercises that improve the body's awareness of position, balance, and movement, enhances coordination and joint control, especially in unstable or unpredictable situations. Together, these qualities play a key role in protecting ligaments and joints, especially in a sport where forces can exceed several times body weight. Ultimately, the goal of physical preparation is not only to make athletes faster or stronger, but to make them durable. Because in alpine skiing, performance is not defined by a single run or a single season. It is defined by how consistently an athlete can train, progress, and perform over years. Thank you for joining us on this journey inside the Physical Training Seminar 2025, part of the EWAS project, empowering women in alpine skiing. If you found this video valuable, leave a like and subscribe to the channel to follow more insights, stories, and knowledge from the world of alpine skiing performance. We'll see you on the slopes.